Hello. I'd like to welcome you back to another episode of Static Industry. My name is Apex Predator, also known as Zypher in-game, and today we're going to get started with these mob crushers here. I just spent several hours designing this room here, which I'm fairly satisfied with for now. We will definitely be adding some stuff to the interior before too much longer, but this will do for the purposes we need it for at the current moment. Right now, I have plans to craft up 4 laser engravers, granted we have all the materials. And for now, we're going to start with this backside here. We're going to be placing, not there, we're going to be placing the laser engravers right above this item input hatch. Probably only allow it to make 4 at a time. Go ahead and control click to slot lock everything. Now we'll just need to give him a turbine, which we will feed with steam from this existing line here. We'll go ahead and get some item pipes sent over here so that way when we have the materials ready, we'll easily, that is not the right machine, I don't know why I'm shift right clicking that. That way when we have the materials, it will be able to deposit them directly into here and start crafting. I'm just now realizing that I completely left out fluid output hatches. I'll have to add those in here in a moment. And to be honest, I forgot about 2 more machines that we're going to need, the macerator and the mixer. Also install our fluid output hatch. Make sure our other 2 steam turbines are fed. And make sure we slot lock everything. Okay, so I think I've devised a master plan for this here. If we examine the recipe here, we'll notice that it requires 100 millibuckets of liquid ender but only produces 75, which means we're gonna need an additional source of liquid ender. Now if we come to the recipe for liquid ender, you can see 2 dust and some water will make 1000 millibuckets, meaning we do have a backup, but we need a way to control it because we don't want it constantly on. We want to be able to empty out the remains that are still inside the output hatch here. So I've got my entangled tank that I need to set up for water, which we already have an input for. And we're going to take this guy here and set it next to the mixer. We now have water being supplied, which means all we need is some ender pearl dust to jumpstart this mob crusher here. So I've got a stainless steel tank here that is set up above the output hatch, a threshold switch reading the content levels of it. Once the contents reach lower than 4%, it will send a redstone signal over to this modern dynamics fluid pipe, which has an extractor upgrade in it, set to the high priority, which will allow the extraction of liquid ender from the mixer into the input hatch. Now anything that gets made from the output hatch will automatically be sent via this green pipe into the side of this input hatch. So let's go ahead and test out the logic and see just how well it works. And actually let's move that to 0%. So we'll just toss in 16 ender pearls for now to jumpstart the process. And we see the mixer starting up. And with the signal, it should automatically extract the liquid ender. Maybe it did it that quickly. It did. Okay. There's liquid ender now being deposited into the input hatch. It'd probably take the rest of these ender pearls to jumpstart the actual laser engraving process. And that'll bring me to the next machine we need to set up, the basic card. This is going to be a simple assembler recipe here. Now we could just utilize one that we already have set up. However, I think I'm going to take advantage of the extra space right here and just make a brand new assembler. 4 robot arms, 2 conveyors, our assembler, which we'll take down here back to the column and place it down. Now we need to access the pipes. So we're going to shoot redstone inside like so. And control click to auto lock all of these slots. I think for this we'll set it at 8 at a time. And now we just need power and items. Whoopsies, that was not supposed to happen. It does get a little weird here to try to connect the pipes with such little room, but I think this should do us perfect right here. In and out, blacklist mode enabled. It appears our only problem is the calculation processors, which means I just didn't set this drawer right here properly. I have to peer in between these two cables here just to get access to it. But if we set this to out and blacklist, that should allow that assembler to start. Which also should mean any minute now, yep, we see the laser engraver working. And if we set an item auto extraction to down, we should have our Enderman mob crusher begin working. Now this does have a 5% consumption chance, so we will have to continuously make these cards, which is why I have it set to 4 capacity right here, and I should probably lower this one as well. And all that really remains left to do is to sort out this crystal experience orbs that we're going to be getting. But I might save that for a little bit later. And a little flaw in our design here. I actually forgot the copper cable that's supposed to power this machine. Okay, and the steam for it apparently. Come on, Apex. Oh, I also think I forgot to set this fluid auto extraction so that it goes into the tank as it produces. And I guess since we're already in the groove of it, let's set up the blaze one as well. For this one I have a simple little setup here. I'm going to add another output hatch there so we'll constantly have a supply of lava. Because if we examine the blaze model here, it requires 100 millibuckets of lava to operate and you get 150 out of the operation. So we'll always have an excess amount of lava here. For now I have the fluid output from one of these tanks being sent to an input hatch, and the other we're probably going to set to an automatic trash can. All we need to jumpstart this is some blaze rods from our old system here. Grab a downgrade for that drawer. Now that I'm looking at it, I put a drawer upgrade on the ender pearls on accident. We'll set these to blaze rods, and the rest for now we'll throw in to jumpstart this machine. Now I do need to set these drawers up here with item pipes. That way we'll get the results and we can utilize the results to continue the process even further. Now I almost did forget though that we do need to jumpstart this little system over here with buckets of lava. We'll go ahead and drop a bucket of lava in the fluid input hatch, which should start the machine up here. And we also need to make that automatic trash can that I was talking about. And I think what we'll do is place him down right here where there's already an item pipe. That way once that fills up and is no longer sending into the input hatch, it'll continue to process even if that one there is full too. So we should see this lava go right back up, seeing as I put it on a higher priority than the pipe leading into the automatic trash can. And as for the creative experience orbs, we'll take this ender tank here, set it to our experience code, and we're going to set him up right here under this mixer. Make sure it's pointed downwards with a fluid auto extraction, and we'll slot lock every one of these slots to nuggets of experience. I always forget the actual name of this item itself, nugget of experience. Doesn't look like a nugget, but okay. Next we'll bring our steam pipe down, make sure that goes into the steam turbine, which will send power to our mixer, and then we'll just bring the item pipe back down and set it to insert. Oh, wrong side. See, this can get a little confusing not knowing what section of the pipe to right click. Yeah, sometimes it's just easier to shift right click the machine, except that's not the mixer. It should start to automatically make this liquid experience, which will then shoot it down into the ender tank, which for some reason is not depositing into the obelisk. This must be a different type of experience, I suppose. Interesting. There's no way this is full, but for some reason it just can't put the liquid XP inside. They must be two different types of liquid experience. Maybe we just put a different color pipe? That might be the solution. Yep, look at the tags there. Liquid XP versus liquid experience. Though I think both should be able to go in here. We're at 657k. Yes, indeed both fluids can go into the XP obelisk. That is wonderful news. What a wonderful looking setup. I think this is going to work out very nicely for us in the long run. Now, for our next project. No, it does not require this midnight black solution, don't you worry. We're going to be heading over yonder to a meteor from AE2. And if you look at my hotbar, you can only guess what we're about to do. Kind sir, you will be coming with me. I guess not if I don't have my create wrench. You, sir, I'm pretty sure I'm going to be placing right here. And I'm hoping maybe, yes, we do have one more flawless, two more flawless. Okay, so we'll have to satisfy with 3 for now. Oh, just kidding, there's another one right there. The other 2 are flawed, or the other couple are flawed. Okay, I have more flawless than I thought, just disregard me. And I think I want to try working with this crystal apothecary here and see if it'll still work even though it's not in a natural geode. And as I always say, right click with our paintbrush. Thank you. Just out of curiosity, does the quest mention anything useful? I might have to wait a little while to find out, but we'll place it here for now and see what happens. And now I want to work my way over to this crystal growth accelerator here. First up, we're going to need some Fluix crystals, which, you guessed it, are made with Certus quartz. Charged even. And next up on our to-do list is a bunch of enchanting here. Some annihilation planes. We're starting off with Fortune 3 and we'll work our way up into Fortune 10. So now I'm wondering, since I haven't really played with these all that much, if I place them down, will they harvest more Certus quartz or just the full crystal? It looks like maybe just the full crystal. No, I'm incorrect with that. So then I've got to figure out a more proper way to filter this storage. Although it seems like it's harvesting them prematurely. Every time it breaks one, we do get Certus quartz into the barrel. So I might just leave this be just how it is for now. And just like that, we now have Certus quartz automated, as well as the basic cards being continuously crafted to supply our mob crushers. As we can see, both of them have now started back up. The buffers are already full, so it's just going to fill up its item output hatches, and then they will stop. Which leads me to our next project here. Rockets. This is a bare bones room at the moment, but as you can see, I've started to install a distillation tower here, which will lead me into our next little bit of progression. And in order to get that progression any further, we need to get into some advanced items. First and foremost, these advanced motors and pumps. Oh, I forgot, I need to get a soldering alloy entangled tank under here. Oh, we're still locked by these moissanite byproducts, which is no worries, that's what we're working on right now. I should have everything locked here in this new assembler for stainless steel drills to go ahead and begin this process. We just need to go and attach an item pipe here in the back. Now we have everything except the motors and pumps automatically put in, and that is simply because we do not have easy access to moissanite yet. So for the time being, we will hand feed these 2 items in to get some stainless steel drills. It looks like 12 is all we can really afford at the moment, but that means we should just simply be able to throw these into 2 of our drills here, and start to see the ores come in. So with our new stainless steel drills processing and our ore miners working away, I've set up a new little subsystem here in the chemical room. We've got an MV centrifuge that is processing moissanite dust, and that in turn gives us 3 different materials that are going to be used in the EV age, as well as some helium that I have automatically being deposited into this large tank above, which finally completes this large tank wall that I've been meaning to finish. Looks really nice. I'm super happy with the way this looks. Now with the moissanite dust being processed, we have both motors and pumps being made at full speed. I say full speed, that is a little bit of a lie, but we do have them coming in as the moissanite dust gets processed. And I want to make a new multi-block, or finish it rather. We need 2 of these distilleries, so we're going to go up and grab 4 electronic circuits and large pumps. Oh, and looks like we have a little bit of a bottleneck here. I wonder what's going on. Actually, I think I know exactly why. I did change this over to insert only not too long ago. Let's see if that corrects our problem. Yes, indeed, it has. Now we just have to wait for this side of the wall to catch up, but it shouldn't be too big of a problem once this glass starts to roll in full time. At least we caught that mistake now rather than a little bit later. We'd be playing a big game of catch up. Right now all we have to do is catch up on electronic circuits, which shouldn't be too big of a deal. Okay, finally after adding a new assembler for sodium batteries, I believe we can make this Distillation Tower controller now. We're missing 1 digital circuit. No biggie. Ladies and gentlemen, the Distillation Tower and its quest. Total distillation. We set him up right here. We should just have to change the height of this to 8. And we can check to see if this is correctly set by holding a hatch right here. So if we bring the height down, we can see it actually takes a layer off. So this does indeed need to be set at height 8. Shape valid, status active. Now we just need some steam over here to power it, as well as a storage solution for all of the fluids that we're going to be getting from distilling steam cracked naphtha. Look at all of these. And of course I have a storage solution idea for this. Just give me a little bit and we'll come right back and you'll see just the Grandmaster plan. Well, I've spent quite some time dedicated to this room, and we now have a large tank room here that is going to store all of the different fluids coming from our distillation tower for steam cracked naphtha. I have all the pipes coming from the distillation tower through the ceiling, and as we can see, I guess I'm going to need to decorate a couple more blocks that you can see in the back side of there. But I did decorate the top. We've got some fans that are just factory blocks, a couple of the malfunctioning ones, and then a lot of the always on ones. And we have 3 different pipe networks coming in, each one delivering its fluid into the respective tanks. And once these start to fill up, they're definitely going to look a lot cooler, like this one here. And if we take our elevator up, I can bring you to the new rocket room. I have our distillation tower centered here with a little bit of decoration so you can see the pipes coming out of it. And on to our next step of the process. This over here is going to be used for Enderium and hot Enderium, all that good stuff. So let's go ahead and start working on these EBFs. Make sure we come in and change our shape into Canthal, which should complete the multi-block. And now I believe with the last addition of this item pipe, everything should start to come alive. Starting first with the macerator, should give us some steel dust, and that should automatically come out if I attach an actual item pipe to it. Okay, there is an item pipe attached, just not on the right setting. Now it should go into the EBF, along with the liquid ender, and that should start the recipe for hot Enderium. And that hot Enderium gets extracted out, or molten Enderium I should say, and sent directly over into this EBF here. which should combine with some stainless steel dust and start running our other recipe. That then produces the hot ingot, which gets sent over into the vacuum freezer and ultimately gives us some Enderium. Oh, and it appears we made a boo-boo and forgot to lock the output hatch to actually make the item we want it to make. Change the output hatch on the vacuum freezer to out and blacklist mode, and grab our first Enderium ingot and set up the drawer for it. Now the rest of the ones that get produced should go right into that drawer above the entrance. Now we just need to gather everything up, that way we can collect all of the quests. And now we can start working on the rocket part assembler, fuel refinery, and the oxygen loader. So first up is our rocket parts assembler, which unlocks the NASA workbench, as well as probably the automatic one, and a couple other things in the future. Now, in looking at the recipe, it is going to require an engine fan, so I've gone ahead and set up our rocket part assembler here, fresh with some molten Enderium. All we need to do is throw a couple parts in here, and we'll get that fan ready for the oxygen loader. 2 rotors, 4 steel rods, and an advanced motor. Now, I think all we need to do is click to move the recipe, and it did not really do that well at all. Maybe we try that again. Yeah, it's getting confused. You have all of the parts, dude. I promise. Ladies and gentlemen, our oxygen loader. And last but not least, the fuel refinery. Now this is going to open up a whole nother rabbit hole here, as we haven't even produced any diesel. However, I do have all the materials required, so let's jump down that rabbit hole. So first things first is going to be to make just regular diesel. So we'll take 2 different entangled tanks here, one with light fuel and one with heavy fuel, and we're going to feed them into the top of this mixer here. So we'll come out and insert into the mixer there, and the same with the heavy fuel, and we'll see it automatically fire up here. I'm going to make sure I lock both of the input hatches just for good measure, and our diesel should automatically get extracted and put into this tank here. There we go. First step is now completed. And with a wee bit more configuring, in addition of some more machines, I think we are ready to start producing boosted diesel. All I need to do is finish connecting up some pipes back here in this crazy mess, and just see how well everything works. As of right now, I have the extra water from these 2 recipes set on a higher extraction priority to enter into the first chemical reactor to make ethanol, and we have the ender tank set on a lower extract priority, so I'm hoping that it'll prioritize emptying out the water from here before pulling from this ender tank, but we'll just see how this works. We should have our first 2 chemical reactors firing, which means here shortly we should be able to see some acrylic acid and ethanol start to form some diethyl ether. And it actually looks like all of those fluids are in a chain of quests over here, so let me go ahead and complete those real quick. First a bucket of ethanol, and a bucket of propene, a bucket of acrylic, and a bucket of diethyl ether. Now all that remains is somehow getting a pipe in here for diesel in order to make the final product, boosted diesel. Our problem is this nest of pipes back here. We'll grab a bucket of diesel to complete the diesel quest, manually put this in, and then go ahead and pipe over the rest of the diesel. Ladies and gentlemen, our first bucket of boosted diesel. Man, space-time is coming quicker and quicker. Get out of here, Harold. Next up on the list, a NASA workbench. think this guy will just keep down here in the tank room for now, as there's plenty of space in here to work around. Now all that remains to do with this setup is to install the fuel refinery, so that way we get fuel for Ad Astra, as well as configure this fuel loader, launch pad, and the rocket itself. I'll come back to you guys in a few once I've figured out a good enough setup. Alright, I think I'm just about ready to go ahead and build this rocket and get it loaded up with fuel. I had to stop in and show this little animation while it's got items inside. It's acting like it's fabricating it. Thought that was pretty cool. Let's go ahead and grab this tier 1 rocket. Interesting. And we'll come and place him right down on our launch pad here. Now I've set up this fuel refinery, which takes in some boosted diesel from this tank here and refines it into fuel, which is then sent down underneath into a fuel provider, I believe? Fuel loader, that's right. This little thing here has a working area of a 5x5 and will provide fuel to either rockets or rovers nearby. And then I have this little tank here that we've got to remember to grab before we head to our destination, as we need at least 12,000 buckets to be able to return back here. Now I believe one of the last few things we have to do is use this oxygen loader, shove in our chest plate here, which should start to grab oxygen. I think it's the wrong side. There we go. That stores oxygen inside of it, and then we can bring some tanks along with us, if it didn't auto put it in the wrong side, that we can refill from as needed. Go ahead and make just a few more of those and toss them over here into our oxygen loader. That way we can make sure we're more than prepared when we get to the moon. Now I am rather curious if this stuff can be enchanted, which it looks like it can. We'll just make sure. Next I'm going to go ahead and just get some protection on these, just to make sure we don't completely die up there in space. And with some new armor and a rocket fully fueled, I think we are ready to take off to the moon. However, you're going to have to wait until next episode. Thanks for tuning into this one. Hope you enjoyed it. If you have any comments or suggestions, certainly let me know. We'll do our final preparations here, make sure we have everything we need, including oxygen tanks, the launch pad, a tank with at least 12,000 fuel, and some scanner modules to be able to find the different ores relatively easily for our scanner here. I'll see you next episode.